Hello world, it's Austin. Let's talk about being transgender and Christian. In the last couple of weeks, I've gotten a handful of messages from trans folks that have lots of questions. Questions about coming out, questions about finding a welcoming church community, questions about how your relationship with God changes when you start to understand more about your gender identity. And even though all the people that have messaged me have said that they're really happy and excited about coming to understand more about themselves, there's also this undercurrent, this simultaneous undercurrent of fear. And that's totally legit when you think about all the things that trans people have to worry about when they come out. We worry about friends and family members who might not understand. We worry about whether or not we're going to be accepted as ourselves. We worry about bathrooms and jobs and whether or not we can be subject to harassment. This worry is very real and it's legitimate, but we have to remind each other and ourselves that this fear is not all-encompassing. The one thing we don't have to worry about is whether God loves us and accepts us as ourselves. One person who messaged me last week said that since realizing that they were trans, they've been distancing themselves from their church community and even from God in some ways, that they haven't felt as close to God and others as they had before, and they wanted to know what to do about this. The first thing I thought when I read this was, read the Psalms. We've talked a little bit about the Psalms before, and if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to link it over here, but the short story is that the book of Psalms is the biggest collection of raw emotion in the Bible. There are psalms of desolation, sadness, worry, hurt, anger, and there are psalms of joy, trust, exultation, promise, and worship. If you are ever feeling like the only person who feels something, I can guarantee that if you flip through the book of Psalms and read it once over, you will find that somebody who lived over 2,000 years ago felt that same feeling. So today we're going to read Psalm 27, because I think the answer to the question, what do I do about this distance that I'm putting between myself and others, has to do with one word, courage. So I'm going to read the whole thing, so stick with me here, because it's good. Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When evildoers assail me to devour my flesh, my adversaries and foes, they all stumble and fall. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war rise up against me, yet I will be confident. One thing I asked of the Lord, that I will seek after, to live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, and to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. For he will hide me in his shelter in the day of trouble. He will conceal me under the cover of his tent. He will set me high on a rock. Now my head is lifted up above my enemies all around me, and I will offer in his tent sacrifices with shouts of joy. I will sing and make melody to the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry aloud. Be gracious to me and answer me. Come, my heart says, seek his face. Your face, Lord, do I seek. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger, you who have been my help. Do not cast me off. Do not forsake me, O God of my salvation. If my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will take me up. Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me on a level path because of my enemies. Do not give me up to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have arisen against me, and they are breathing out violence. I believe that I shall see goodness in the house of the Lord, in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. This psalm is a wonderful mixture of hope and certainty. At some points it seems like the author is really sure about God, that he says God has taken care of me before, so surely God will take care of me again. Other times it seems like he's not so sure at all, like he's asking for help and he's hoping that God will remember him. The most poignant part in this whole psalm to me is when he wonders if he's going to be left all alone, and then he remembers that even if his parents forsake him, God will still be there. In the end, the psalmist remembers the way that God has taken care of him in the past, and he believes that God will take care of him in the future, and he takes courage from that. And we need that courage to collapse distance. What I mean is that when we're scared and when we're worried about not being accepted, we tend to clam up. It's human nature. Actually, it's animal nature. We curl up like little armadillos and wait for the bad weather to pass. And when we curl up like that, when we try to protect ourselves, we end up putting barriers between ourselves and others, and in some ways, between ourselves and God. Sometimes it feels easier to just be alone than to have to deal with rejection. But this is where the good news comes in, because before we even had a chance to curl up, we were already welcomed and accepted and loved. If we skip ahead a bit into the New Testament, we find that in Romans 5, God loved us and was bringing us close before we even knew what was happening. And in Romans 8, it says that nothing can separate us from God's love at this point. Not life or death or anything now or in the future, nothing we can see or nothing we can't see. So we can try hiding out and curling up now, and we might feel alone for a little bit, but God's love is like really heavy rain. Eventually, even with the best umbrella you can buy, you're gonna get soaked. So this is where Psalm 27 comes back in. When you feel really scared and you're not sure if people are gonna accept you and you wanna close up like that, remember that God has already promised to love you no matter what. Read the Psalms and remember that it's okay to be scared. We're all scared. But remember that God promises to be there with you even if everybody else leaves. So take courage, because when you're courageous, when you open up and let yourself be seen, that's when you start to feel the real love, and that's when you start to feel close to people again. So be courageous this week, friends, and I will see you back here again next Wednesday. And just so you know, I've started a blog where I talk more about transgender issues, and this week's posts are on mental illness, so if you want to check that out, go click in the description below. I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday. Peace.